And welcome back to Sports the NEMO Way, the Charles Barkley episode. The 6'6", 252-pound power forward is a zero-time champ, one-time MVP, 11-time All-Star, 11-time All-NBA, playing 16 years in the league after being the number 5 overall pick, and he is a Hall of Famer, with career averages of 22, 11, and 4 on 54% shooting. Now, before I kick it to anybody in this episode, I just have to touch on the enormous amount of nicknames on his basketball reference page. I think we've said off air, like, we've never seen anybody with this many nicknames before. This is crazy, and some of them were just downright mean. The obvious ones, Sir Charles and the round mound of rebound, ones you've heard a million times, but then the Chuckster and the Chuck Wagon, okay. But then the Prince of Pizza, the Incredible Bulk, the Leaning Tower of Pizza, the Bread Truck, Boy Gorge, Love Boat, kind of stands out there, I don't know what that's about, Food World, the Crisco Kid, Wide Load from Leeds, Ton of Fun, and Good Time Blimp. A lot of fat jokes in there, guys, a lot of fat jokes. Wouldn't happen in 2021.
No, wouldn't happen today.
But anyway, now that I've touched on that, I will now kick to Drew, who has Barkley ranked the lowest of any of us at 32 overall and number 6 on his power forward list. What you got, Drew?
Well, when I think of Charles Barkley, I think of this shorter guy, bigger around, but still being able to dominate the big guys in the paint. That's what I see. And this one clip when Dennis Rodman tips the ball 4 times over his head. I don't know why, but I remember that clip. But anyway, with Charles, he's got 11 All-NBAs, his MVP, and the one rebound championship. But other than that, he doesn't have as much, which that's the era he played in, with dominant with Michael and a bunch of other guys, which we've talked about, and other stuff. That's why he didn't get his championship. But I don't know. To some of his accolades, I feel like he could have a couple more, but I don't know exactly what they are. And I don't know. I think Charles was pretty good at defense, but he doesn't have any all-defensive teams, so I just don't know.
Fair enough. And that will kick us to Ray, who has in the second lowest at 29 overall and number 5 on his power forward list. Take us away, Ray.
All right. So finally a player we've all seen play, except for Drew. Now, I just want to say I don't hate Charles. I really like Charles a lot. He was a very dominant player in his day, and his stat line backs it up. He had a killer playoff series, especially the finals appearance against Chicago, with 27, 13, and 5. But there comes a time where you have to flip the switch and become the killer. But Barkley never going to be that, because he never really gave a shit about his physical well-being. He was always out of shape, and when you're out of shape, you don't have the same kind of energy or stamina as everyone else. For example, in the 1995 playoffs, he torches Portland for 33 and 13. Then the next series, the Rockets must have wore his ass out because his scoring went down 11 points. But that's really the only knock I have in Charles, is that he got complacent and fat. Otherwise, he meets all my criteria. Grit and grind, well-balanced player. But when you can be better and just say fuck it, it just kind of irks me. So that's why he's at 29 and, instead of, I don't know, maybe top 20 on my list.
Well, fair enough, Ray. I don't think you're going to get any arguments that Charles was skinny. So I guess I'll move on. That will lead us to Uncle Doug, who has him ranked number 19 overall, so quite the jump up from Drew and Ray, and number 4 on his power forward list. Uncle Doug?
Yeah, the round mound of rebound. I started watching Charles when he was at Auburn, and then he came into the NBA. Charles finished 32nd on the points list, with his average being 35th. He finished 20th on the rebound list. And then I was kind of impressed. I saw that he finished 107 on the assist list, 128 on the block, and Charles is actually 29th on the steal list. So Charles didn't just score and rebound, he also played some serious defense. He did get an MVP. He was the rebound champ in 86-87. Charles was a lot of fun to watch on and off the court.
Agreed. Well, that will lead us to Wade, who has him identically ranked to Uncle Doug at 19 and 4.
Oh, yes. I just think Charles Barkley was a phenomenal basketball player. No matter the position or size, he was a monster. I do think power forward's kind of unique in the fact that, in my opinion, 2 through 5, there's 4 guys that I think you can make a valid case for, all being him, Malone, Garnett, and who am I missing?
Bob Pettit.
Dirk.
Yes, Dirk, not Bob Pettit.
Not Bob Pettit.
And when they all have certain aspects of their games that was better than the others, they all have certain accolades that are better than the others, and he's in that category for me, which is one really rare that I think there's 4 guys that I think you can make a legit argument for to be the second greatest at a position ever. I don't think that happens at the other positions, but he was a freak of nature. He was phenomenal on offense. Not just his scoring, but with hustle plays and passing and getting to the basket and shooting the jump shot. Obviously he wasn't Dirk Nowitzki, but he had a solid jumper. He could, at only being probably 6'4", 6'5", he went through a lot of guys a lot bigger than him with just pure force and effort. He was kind of this hybrid athlete that was just a freak of nature, and in his prime was just as good as anybody in the NBA. I think probably just as talented as any power forward ever. He obviously doesn't quite have the success of someone like Tim Duncan, but I don't think Duncan is light years ahead of Charles Barkley. But Barkley didn't get the championship because of Jordan, and he's overshadowed by Jordan, and he didn't get the chip, so that's what holds him back in a lot of people's eyes.
Yeah.
That it, Wade?
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, then obviously that leads us to me, who has him ranked the highest on the overall list at number 16 overall. But I have him at number 5 on my power forward list, 1 spot behind Wade and Uncle Doug, the same as Ray, and 1 spot ahead of Drew. Now, I think before Wade gave his speech there, he touched on how Barkley didn't win, but he didn't feel like he ever lost to lesser teams. That he was beaten by teams better than him and more over talented teams than his teams, and I would tend to agree with Wade on that. Early in his career, he was losing to the Larry Bird-led Celtics teams that. He for a couple years there, when the beginning of Chuck's career, he had Dr. J, but Dr. J wasn't Doc anymore. His rookie season, Doc was 34, and he had Moses there for a year, a little bit older Moses, but then the 76ers traded him for a hubcap and a bag of balls, I think.
Oh my God!
No, they traded him for like 2 goofy white guys and Clifford Robinson. That's literally what happened.
Wow. That's a damn shame.
Yeah, Charles holds a grudge about that too, because not only was Moses his mentor, and I guess his rookie season, Moses, I can't remember the exact wordage, but Moses came up to Charles and said, you're never going to be good in this league being a fat slob, right? And Charles said that's the only player that could have came up to him and said that. Otherwise, he'd have fought whoever said it to him.
Oh, damn.
But he had so much reverence for Moses, he took it to heart.
The funny part is Moses was fat. Moses Malone was a fat ass.
Late in his career, yeah, he was. But anyway, I don't think Charles ever was like the title favorite and then went out and lost. You know what I mean? I think it's one of those things of, he lost to the Celtics and the Lakers and the Pistons and
the Bulls in the final.
Yeah, the Bulls, with MJ. He wasn't, and he didn't play with superstars outside of, like I said, his first couple years in the league, he had Malone and Doc, but who weren't superstars anymore.
The best player ever played was probably Kevin Johnson.
Yeah, I was coming to that. Kevin Johnson's the best player I ever played with, who I wouldn't describe as a superstar, but he was a very good player. So actually, what was it, the Stockton episode or whatever? We kind of were. Isaiah's episode. Yeah.
We were Kevin for
we were
4 or 5 year stretch there.
Yeah.
Was legit.
Yeah.
You can throw in that. I mean, he did play technically with Olajuwon and Pippen, but they were all old.
Yes.
At the end.
Yes.
They were all out of their primes.
Agreed. Yeah, including Chuck
And Drexler.
Yeah. But my Charles stuff is this. Only 7 power forwards have ever won an MVP award, and Charles is one of them. Of the top 50 scorers in NBA history, Charles has the highest field goal percentage of any non-center. And if you add the centers back in, Charles drops all the way down the list to 3rd place behind Shaq and Kareem. So I guess we can say he's one of the most efficient scorers ever. And if he wouldn't have shot too many threes during a few years of his career, his field goal percentage probably would have been higher. But I would just say overall, Charles was a great player, regardless of position. And I have the utmost respect for Charles as a basketball player. So that's my opening statement on Charles Barkley, guys.
Hell yeah.
Anybody else got any interesting Barkley tidbits?
Well, at the time of Charles's retirement, he was one of only 4 players to score 20,000 points, have 10,000 rebounds, and 4,000 assists. Since then, Tim Duncan and Kevin Garnett have done it, but that's pretty good company. And again, it shows how versatile he was, that he could do a lot of things.
I would assume, I don't know this, but I would assume LeBron ought to be close to that, right? I mean, we know he has 20,000 points.
Yeah, I would think LeBron probably is now. Yeah, pretty close.
I mean, he's playing in year 19, and he averages like 7 rebounds for his career. So I would assume he's getting close to 10,000 rebounds.
Yeah.
Sorry, who'd you say?
LeBron.
Oh, he's got to be close.
Yeah.
He'll definitely get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I would suspect he has 4,000 assists at this point. I mean, he averages 7 for his career. So, I mean,
that's somebody I'd definitely like to see Charles play against.
LeBron.
Yeah. I'd like to see Charles and LeBron go at it.
Well, because Charles doesn't give a shit. He's going to go right at LeBron. The first time LeBron cries, Charles is just going to smack him and be like, come on, quit being a bitch. Let's go.
Yeah.
Well, Charles famously said that when he came up against somebody like that, he'd go down the floor and he'd hit him.
Yeah.
And if they didn't hit him back, he hit him again.
Yeah.
And he said if they didn't hit me back after 2 or 3, I knew I owned him.
Yeah.
You know, and so Charles is going after whoever.
I mean, that's the way to do it, really.
Yeah. Well, he was asserting dominance. That's what
Yeah. No, you're really right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
No, and I agree with you. Well, not just LeBron, but pretty much all of today's NBA players aren't used to things like that.
Mm-mm.
You know, they wouldn't be used to the physicality Barkley or a lot of guys during that era, even Malone, played with. And if you made we always talk about, what if Malone played today, or what if Barkley played today, or Jordan played today, or whoever we're talking about. Some of the stuff, it'd be interesting to see, which rules you're playing by. I'm going to ask the question in a second. Could Barkley play today? And, we're going to talk about, the finesse of today and, all this craziness. But what if Barkley played today but brought the rules from the 80s and 90s with him? That's a completely different conversation.
He'd just bully people.
Some of today's guys better look out.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be playing.
Well, a lot of teams would have to go back to playing traditional 7-foot centers, 6'10", big bruisers at power forward. You couldn't get away with the smaller guys.
Yeah.
With the rule changes going back.
Or guys would, shift down a position. You couldn't, you wouldn't be able to play, Kevin Durant at power forward anymore probably because he'd take too much abuse. you'd probably drop him back down to small forward where he played majority of his career. Or you couldn't play Robert Covington at power forward.
I mean, sometimes the Warriors literally play Draymond at center.
Yeah.
And that would never work.
6'7" maybe.
Yeah. And he is a great defender, but that's not going to work.
Right.
Against a solid 7-footer that knows what he's doing, they take advantage of that every time.
Well, I think Charles would. I mean, Charles would go right through him.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree with that. But that is the other thing. I think people forget those great Warriors teams. You knew they were going to make the finals when they were in the Western Conference playoffs after they beat the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies were the team that gave them so much trouble in the playoffs.
They're physical.
They were not only physical, but they played two big men. And Gasol and Randolph could both score. That's the big problem with today's NBA. You have big men, but they don't score. If you can throw the ball on the block and take advantage, like Draymond Green cannot guard prime Marc Gasol. There's 100 pounds difference in them.
Yeah, they had to play like Andrew Bogut and stuff.
Right. And then they're like, okay, now we're going to feed the ball to Zebo. Like they were going to take advantage of that small post player. I'm not knocking Draymond for this. Draymond is a good defender, but he is small.
Yeah.
Like he couldn't go. Like, can you imagine being like, all right, Draymond, this is in 1995. Tonight you guard Olajuwon. Tomorrow you guard David Robinson. Then you guard Mutombo. Then you guard Shaq. Then you guard Ewing. That's not happening.
No, it's not happening.
He would guard small forwards and smaller power forwards.
Yes, 100%.
Well, see, that's the thing is that everybody's looking for the next Durant, and Dirk Nowitzki. It's like 6'10" to 7 foot to bring him out. Well, I mean, that's what everybody's looking for today, and you can't. Nobody's like that. That's like once in a lifetime type of player.
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think Barkley's one of a kind.
I mean, yeah,
I
he
think
is.
he is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Someone that small, that powerful, that explosive, and he was durable for the first part of his career. I mean, like everyone does. He got a little nicked up a lot there at the end, but for 10, 12 years, he's a powerhouse and was durable and smaller than guys he's going against. I mean, Zion Williamson won't play half as many games as this. And he tries to be Charles Barkley.
Zion
Zion
Williamson is probably the closest thing we've seen to Charles with the overweight, the sheer explosive, freaky athleticness, playing power forward and being undersized, things like that. But here's the thing. Zion averages like 6 rebounds a game.
Come on, Zion's only played like 70 games in 3 years.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. I'm not
the
saying
same problem.
He's worse than Kawhi.
You're right. He is worse than Kawhi. He's also not as good.
I'll give you that one too.
All right.
Kawhi's better than Zion.
We're on the same page.
But here's the thing, though, and this is not an anti-Kawhi thing. This is, but no, seriously, I don't dislike Kawhi. I just like to give Wade a hard time. Kawhi is better than Zion Williamson. He is, but Zion Williamson is more talented than Kawhi Leonard.
I don't have a problem saying that. He has the He's so naturally athletic. He's more athletic than 99% of the NBA. That's just
might be 100% of the NBA.
That's just the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no problem with that.
He's so freaky athletic for how big he is, to be able to do some of the stuff he does.
But that's a part of what made Charles amazing. He was a durable player in an era where you got hit every time. You can't touch Zion, and he can't play 40 games.
His coach and GM came out and complained about the referees and to the league for not suspending a player when he got his finger broke when a guy tried to steal the ball from him. That's what we're at in the NBA. When your GM comes out on national television and complains that they're not protecting your player enough because his finger got broke.
Well,
Oh my gosh.
I think the biggest problem with Zion, outside of all the injuries, every time he's not playing, he blows up like a fucking balloon. And
Yes.
he's fat as hell.
Yeah.
He's
Have you
fat
seen
as
that
hell
commercial?
Right now, he's fat as hell.
They're saying he's not just a little bit. He's well over 300 pounds right now.
There's a picture
Whoa.
of him going all over the internet, and it's a giant meme. I don't even have social media, and it made on my phone. That's how bad it is.
And I just
on
wanna-
my Google feed.
I just want to let all the listeners know that we're not trying to fat shame anybody on the show. We're just letting you know that there's a certain standard that you have to have on a professional basketball team to not have a certain overweight issue
It's your
to play
job.
this game. That's part of your job to keep your weight down.
Hey,
We're not
most-
trying to fat
We
shame
talked about
anybody.
another
in
episode
shape.
like Sean Kemp got.
Yeah,
Big.
yeah, no.
And this won't be the last overweight.
No.
game.
Right,
Shaq's
yeah.
coming up.
Yeah, I was like Shaq got
exactly.
that.
So I mean,
Yes,
this is not the first
100%.
or the last.
Moses.
Yeah, Moses.
Yeah.
There's going to be other guys that have these
We sit here and
conversations.
think about it.
But
we can-
Barkley came in as a rookie, fat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. Shaq got fat 8 years into his career. Moses got fat 12 years into his career. Getting older, age, carrying less, whatever you want to call it. Kemp's a whole different ballgame. That's insane.
Yeah.
Um,
It's just
That's
a lot of
marijuana.
stuff
Or-
there. It's just a lot
that's
of
a lot of
there.
stuff. That's a lot of stuff. We covered that in the Kemp episode. But yeah, Zion. Yeah, I'm not trying to fat shame anybody. I mean, half the people I know are fat. But but yeah, and let's be honest, Wade and I are doomed to be fat at some point. So I mean, it's but
I like big guys. They protect me as QB.
well, yeah.
I
And
need
if
linemen.
Zion played tackle, we wouldn't be talking about him like
That's
this.
right.
Yeah.
He might be a good offensive lineman.
If he could stay on the field.
Yeah, if he could stay on the field.
He could be one of hell of a tight end,
Yeah.
But he might get more than a broken finger playing tight end. So, but by the way, this Zion situation before we move back into Barkley is getting kind of scary, don't you think? They told us he was going to be ready by the beginning of the season, and then 20 games in, they give us another update that no, he's not ready and he's out indefinitely.
Yeah.
He had a stress fracture in his foot. We see guys come back from this in like 6 to 8 weeks.
Well, you also see guys like Sam Bowie.
Oh yeah.
Never came back. The big center from Ohio State,
Oden.
Greg Oden.
Mm-hmm.
Hurt Yao's career.
Yeah, Yao ended his career that way.
Bolton.
Walton. Yeah, didn't Samson break his foot too?
I think he may have, yeah.
Ernest Agoskis.
Yeah,
Um,
Goskis.
He
Yeah.
missed a large part of his career because of
Big guys that start having foot problems is a serious red flag.
Yeah, and Zion's not tall, but he's carrying so much weight.
Yes.
And he's taking that weight and exploding like we've really never seen.
Well, as
Like-
high as he jumps, the impact when he lands. Well, if you saw the Duke North Carolina game where he blew out the shoe,
Yes.
Yeah, he
I
was
mean, you know how
outside.
much force he's putting when you blow a shoe apart.
Yeah.
that is crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. Or when he blocked the three-pointer and he was standing in the paint when the kid caught the ball. Like the amount of quick twitch and explosion that has to be going on to get to that ball. Like,
And I mean, as much ball as guys play now, AAU and all that, where they specialize in one sport, they do that all the time. AAU runs pretty much year round. The pounding that goes on their knees, it's rough.
yeah.
Knees, feet.
Well, what's he got left on his contract?
I mean, he's in his rookie deal.
Oh, the
so-
rookie deal.
Yeah, so he's got 2 years left, I think.
Oh, well, he has talked about the Knicks thing a while back. So maybe he's trying to bullshit around. Oh my God!
That's him trying to do a workout before a game.
Wade just showed us a picture of him in a warm up.
Well, there's some commercial of him and
court.
someone else sitting on a couch, playing like PlayStation or
one
something for
showing.
like a Gatorade commercial, and he
Yeah.
looks.
I think it's Tatum, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
Jason Tatum?
Yeah, he just looks all chubby in the face. I'm like, oh Zion, buddy, your injury hasn't helped.
Here, look at the belly hanging out on that one.
He looks like James Harden. Remember last year?
He's
James
way
Harden
bigger
did
than
all
Harden, though.
I know, but Harden did that on purpose, and I just found that funny.
And
how
then Harden
skinny-
lost it quick.
Yeah.
And then almost won an MVP. This rascal over here can't play.
That rascal ain't gonna touch
But
an
if you're
MVP.
trying to heal a broken foot, it can't be good running around
No,
350 pounds.
It's not. That's the first thing a doctor will tell you. If you're having foot problems, ankles, knees, lose the weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we got to talk about Charles Barkley again.
Yeah.
We can't talk about
Oh,
Zion.
after Charles, the more Charles I've seen is him and Shaq making fun of current players like Zion.
No, Charles Barkley. They were making fun of Zion. I think it was the photos I just showed you was him warming up between a game. Charles Barkley told Shaq, looks like we just had a baby together.
See, Mark can't tell me that shit ain't funny. That stuff's hilarious. I love the TNT show with those guys.
So who's he like? Greenberg and Stephen A. Smith?
Hey, who does he like to listen
Who does
to?
Mark like?
He does like Stephen A. Smith.
Oh no.
He doesn't like. I don't think he's a big Greenberg fan.
Oh,
Yeah.
Greeny just annoys me. I do not
Steve,
like
why-
him.
Why is he like the number one talent at ESPN now?
Well, since he's become number one, ESPN's ratings have gone on the toilet.
Yeah.
I mean,
See, that's weird because I like Get Up. I watch Get Up every day.
I don't mind
That's
it
not
if he's
bad.
not on.
Yeah.
I just don't like Greeny.
Okay.
No,
just
Greeny's
annoying.
annoying. The only reason I listened to Mike and Mike was Golick.
Right. Oh, yeah, I like Goldie.
Greeny ignored me.
And
annoyed
Senior's
me.
way better than Junior.
Yes. But here's the other thing. Greeny now runs ESPN's halftime show,
Yeah.
pregame and halftime show for NBA games, and it's awful.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the first night, it was terrible.
It's like him, Stephen A., Jalen Rose,
Yeah.
and Brian Windhorst.
Well, the problem is that show has been fluctuating for years.
Yeah.
They can't keep when they do get like really good people that people like. They never stay because they're trying to change stuff, and the talented people are like, I don't want to deal with this nonsense. Or they give them like a minute and a half to talk, and the really smart guys need time to explain stuff. But Bill Simmons talks about it. In his
Yeah, he
podcast.
talks about it a lot.
Like he's one of the smartest basketball people I've ever listened to, and he was on there for quite a while. I think the only one that's really stuck around would be Jalen Rose.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Bill Simmons did it for a while, but he talks openly about how much he hated it.
Because they wouldn't let him talk,
Yeah.
and they like would force them to all talk about LeBron James and like stuff like that's real comments people have made.
Mhm.
Paul Pierce, that's what Paul Pierce said after he got fired for
Stripper
partying
thing.
and strippers.
Yeah.
He said I didn't really like it anyway because all it made me do was talk about LeBron James. I was like, oh, well,
Yeah.
he's probably telling the truth.
Yep.
By the way, speaking of LeBron, will he stop whining about the coronavirus stuff? Like, you tested positive for coronavirus and you missed a couple games, and they let you come back because you tested negative a couple times. Last year that wasn't even the case. Durant tested negative like a dozen times, and they're like, nope, still got to sit out 10 days or whatever. Like,
LeBron's been mad since he got suspended.
Well, and LeBron sets that all the time anyway, so what's he care?
Yeah, so he's resting,
Yeah.
or he's getting some weird injury like my pinky hurts. I need to rest 2 games.
My hair fell out. I gotta go sit down.
by the way,
That was 10
did you
years
guys
ago.
hear? Did you guys hear what Kareem said about LeBron yesterday?
Goats don't dance.
Yeah, yeah, that's actually what he said.
Because he did that.
Yes,
He
go
did
big
that
guy.
stupid Sam
Hell
Cassell
yeah.
dance where he does the whole
Mhm.
big balls thing, and then Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is like, "Goats don't dance."
He's it was a longer sentence than that, but that's what everybody's been advertising. Goats don't dance. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar about LeBron James.
Hell
But,
yeah.
But what he's at the beginning, what he said was, if you're great, I don't understand why you have to dance and show the other team up. They already know how good you are. Goats don't dance, and you're like, oh.
Well, here's another one. I don't know why you got to copy the other goat and make a Space Jam too.
Oh, then did you see the other night he tried to shoot a free throw with his eyes closed?
He missed it so
and he
bad.
almost he was like a centimeter from airballing it.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, he tried to do the Mike no look free throw.
But
Well, I
no,
think
that's the thing.
Kobe's done it before too. Kobe did it. They caught that on video.
But here's the thing. If you can't complain to us about being compared to Mike all the time and then do the things, everything Mike did.
Right, yeah.
He even wears his goddamn number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a million other numbers, buddy. Pick one. Don't pick 23. Like, come
Right.
on.
Well, he's back to 6 now.
Is he back to 6
Yeah.
now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he did change his number again.
He's just
He's
not.
still worn 23 for, what, over half his career?
Yeah, I mean, he
So
wore
he's
it.
or
He
half
wore it
of
for however long he was in Cleveland the first time, and then he did switch to 6 in Miami,
And then back to 23.
23 in Cleveland.
And now he's switched back.
But I think he was a 23 his first year in
Los
LA,
Angeles.
Yeah.
and then he switched
Then he
again.
switched.
And and 6 is what, Russell?
Yes.
Right, yeah. That's Bill Russell's number.
Yeah.
Sixes?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
He ain't won more than Michael. Why are they trying to move on to Russell?
Exactly.
Right. Well, I mean, at this point, it's impossible for him to catch Russell. Like
no,
No.
one's ever going to
Yeah.
catch Russell.
No,
Unless
I
it
agree.
Davis.
I agree. But I mean, like, you're at 4. You need 7 more. We're not even sure you can play 7 more years. More or less, win 7
Right.
more championships. So
And I gotta agree with Stephen A. on this one. LeBron's not winning another title in his lifetime.
he
Ever.
I'm not saying. I'm not gonna say never because
Never.
the way the superstars force their way out and soar these super teams so quickly, I'm not going to say never, but I don't think the Lakers can win as currently constituted.
No, they got to make some changes.
Yeah, I kind of some agree with Alex. I'm not going to say he never win one, but his window is closing. I will say that.
Rapidly.
Fast.
He's got a short window if he's going to do it.
But we might also say this, though. If he does win another one, it may not be as the best player.
That's true.
That's true. Yeah.
Because, what if, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but what if Steph forced his way out and ended up in L.A.? They could win a title together, but it might be Steph as the best player because LeBron's not even the same guy he was 2 years ago.
Mm-mm.
And even when LeBron turns it on now, we saw it in that Phoenix series last year. He would turn it on for short spurts, but he couldn't turn it on for even a quarter. And, completely dominate a game. Like, he just couldn't do it.
Well, I said after he won the Lakers title, I mean, he was still a great, phenomenal player at that point. I mean, he's still one of the best players in the NBA, really, if you like him or not. But he won the title because he got to play the regular season, take 2 months off, and then do the playoffs because of COVID.
Yeah.
So he got to completely rest his old-ass body and then go in and do the playoffs. I don't think he would have won because he was starting to struggle at the end of the regular season. And in the playoffs and finals in the years before that, he got tired trying to carry his team playing with the high usage rate that he plays with.
And let's be honest. I mean, I still think LeBron was the best player on the team, but he needed Anthony Davis badly. Anthony Davis led the team in points, rebounds, and he was their best defender.
Yep.
So
that's why he's on our list, baby.
Yep.
All right. Let's talk about Charles Barkley, guys. We got off on a second tangent there. So I'm going to ask the obvious question here, guys. Could Charles play today, and if so, how would he do?
I think he'd dominate any era of basketball.
Yeah.
I think he'd be just fine, yeah.
Yeah, he'd be fine.
I agree. I think he would dominate today's game, and he would not have to change positions to do it.
No,
he would still be a dominant power forward in today's game. Do I think he could play other positions? He could probably play small forward, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think he could play a lot of center. Maybe today's game only, maybe.
I think the hard part for him would be
rim protection.
Well, you don't really need
that was
that.
the problem then.
Yeah.
Like Charles was never like, from my understanding, I mean, I've watched obviously him play basketball, but I wasn't like, I would say I wasn't even alive for half his career. But I've seen lots of documentaries and clips and heard lots of people talk about him and stuff, and even like Bill Simmons talks about him a lot, actually quite a bit in his podcast, which I listen to regularly. He wasn't like a god awful defender. He would try, but he got abused because of the height difference a lot, or. I mean, that was probably the main one, and he just wasn't naturally a great defender, but he tried hard. And like I think Uncle Doug pointed out, he got a lot of steals. He was a decent shot blocker. He just wasn't a great defender.
Well, I read the Charles Barkley chapter from Bill Simmons' book before the episode, and he talked about most of his problem on defense was guys would just turn around and shoot over top of him.
Yeah.
Like
Right,
it wasn't that Barkley wasn't there. It was just, well, I'm 4 or 5 inches taller than you. I'm just going to turn around and shoot this, and you're not going to affect it. He talks about how most of his blocks came like weak side or on the break, not actually like blocking the guy he was guarding.
I can see that.
Like
a chase down,
or like where he could gather and jump to block weak side. Not actually blocking the shot of the guy he was guarding. Which is harder, let's be honest. It's harder to do than come weak side. I mean,
we see that with a lot of guys in a lot of different positions. I mean, that's what hurt Steph Curry. People can manhandle him.
Yeah,
that's what hurt Allen Iverson. They just shot right over top of him.
Yep.
I mean, it happens everywhere.
Well, see, I was going to say he'd probably be better today because he's playing with a shorter group of people. Because
depending on what position he's at, but I think could he keep up with a really athletic 3?
I think so, yeah.
He's pretty athletic, man.
No, I'm talking about, he could jump and he's powerful. But there's different kinds of athleticism. You get a really
Well, don't
really
put him on
fast,
Steph. Just don't put him
guard.
on Steph.
No, I'm talking about like explosive 3 guards. Like, there's some very, very athletic and quick, fast 3 guards. I don't think a natural power forward, could keep up with him. I think he'd be a tweener on defense.
He might be. But let's be honest. in today's NBA, how much defense is really being played?
I mean, that's true, too.
I will say this year it's better.
It is. No,
This
I
year
was
is
the
fun to
rule
watch.
change. I'm loving it. There's still a bunch of whiny
Yeah.
brats out there, but them being able to play some defense and be more physical, and now a foul call every time down the floor has been wonderful.
Yeah.
This is the most I've liked the NBA in probably about 5 years. 4
Yes,
years.
very much so.
Yes, I'm
And-
loving the Suns run. I was really loving that.
And not every game's 135 to 138.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's, it's
We're seeing
it's
games in
back-
the 90s again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's real basketball. It's
Yep.
not just
I agree. And
ridiculousness.
the guys that are mad about it, I don't feel sorry for. Like
No.
Trey Young, shut the fuck up and fix it.
Yeah, exactly.
The one thing I will give him, because I'm not a big fan of him, but he's struggling with it. I don't hear Harden complain about it. Harden's struggling with it, but I haven't heard a lot of media chatter from Harden about how awful it is.
to make things worse with Harden, he just, on top of trying to get used to the rule changes, he shot like shit for the first 10 games. He was
Yeah.
shooting like 32% at the start
Yeah.
of the year.
Yeah,
He's got it back up to like 41, 42%, so he's almost back up to his career average. And he was shooting like 38% from 3 just like last week, so he's doing quite a bit better. And he's averaging almost 10 assists a game, or somewhere around there. But the problem is they need him to do more because Kyrie's not playing.
Yeah.
And what's his name? The sharpshooter's been out.
Harris.
Oh, yeah.
And Kevin Durant can't score 48 every night.
Here's the thing. I'm scared Durant's going to get hurt again because they're
Agreed.
playing Durant like 38 minutes a night.
And he's guarding their team's best player
Yeah.
half the time. And he's like 34 years old now, coming off a torn Achilles.
And he's having the best year in the NBA. Nobody is having nearly as good a year as Kevin Durant. Now, the Warriors are winning more, and Steph's playing well, so Steph may win the MVP. But if we're just comparing statistically the seasons they're having, Durant's blowing Curry out the water.
He's pretty unreal. Giannis is having another giant year.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Giannis is.
Yeah. I think Giannis at this point in his career, because he's so much younger than the other guys, like LeBron and Durant and Curry and these guys. Look, Giannis, whether he wins it or not, is going to be in the MVP conversation every year for a while. Like
Yeah.
he's entering the prime of his career. For probably the next 5-6 years, he'll be a top 3 MVP guy every year, unless he gets hurt.
He kind of, not the way they play or anything, just how they just put up these crazy, insane stats that I'm probably going to do it for a long-ass time. He's like this version's Karl Malone. Every time you look at the league leaders, he's going to be near the top.
Mm-hmm.
Points, rebounds, just all that. He's just going to be a machine for a long
Yep.
time.
I agree. All right, our third tangent away from Charles Barkley.
We're all over the map tonight.
100%. But I think it's good talk. Good talk.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Is it time for Alex's litigation corner?
It is Alex's
Okay.
litigation corner, guys.
yeah.
gosh.
All right, so I will talk to Ray. All right, I got 3 of them for you tonight, Ray. Why do you have Steve Nash ranked ahead of Charles Barkley?
I think the extra MVP. I think that's probably about it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's all right.
So you're still entrenched there? You think?
I'm like in the beginning of this podcast, I was like, "Fuck everybody's MVP and titles," but when you get down to the nitty gritty with that, it starts to come down to the MVPs and the titles. So I think Nash with the extra MVP, I think that kind of beats him out. I mean, Charles got him on defense a little bit, but I mean, come down to it, they're pretty neck and neck, scoring wise, assist wise. Rebounds is more Charles, but the MVP kind of goes in Nash's favor, but they're kind of neck and neck player wise.
All right. Well, I'll let you have that, I guess. All right. Well, my next one is, why is Paul Pierce ranked ahead of Charles Barkley?
I just think Paul Pierce is probably the best player on his team for probably like 2 decades, and Charles is probably the best player on his team for probably like 5 years straight among 2 franchises.
Well, I think both of those are a little extreme.
Well,
I don't think.
Pierce wasn't quite. He was old as hell. 2 decades.
I don't. 2 decades is 20 years, man. I don't even think he played 20 years.
He was probably the best player on his team for, I'd say, 12 years.
yeah.
Yeah, probably
11
so.
or 12.
So
But
Yeah.
I would say Barkley was probably the best player on his team for at least 12 years. But every year until he went to Houston.
I mean that's maybe possible, but I mean I don't know. Paul Pierce maybe owned the Celtics more than, Charles Barkley did the Philadelphia and the Suns.
Well, if you're making the case that Paul Pierce is more important to the Celtics than Barkley is to any of his franchises, I will agree with you.
Okay.
Because
we'll go with that, then.
I think we touched on it before, or maybe that was when we lost our episode. Barkley doesn't have a true home, I don't think, as far as like franchise-wise.
Right.
So yes, but I will say this to you, Ray. I have them pulled up next to each other. Barkley outscores them, out-rebounds them, out-assists them, out-steals them, and out-blocks them, while he shoots 10% higher from the floor. Now, Pierce is at 10% better from three-point land. And he has an MVP. Barkley's pretty badass, man.
I mean, yeah, I give it to Charles Barkley any time of the day, but come down to him and Paul Pierce. I think Paul Pierce is more important to the Celtics franchise than Barkley has ever been to any other one.
All right. Well,
So disappointed there, Alex. All right.
hey, I like Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce made my list as well. I just don't have him ranked higher than Charles Barkley.
I love Barkley. I don't have any hate in my heart for Barkley, but there's certain parts that just irk me, and Paul Pierce is probably just a more important player than Barkley was with two franchises.
All right. Well, my last one for you, Ray. Why do you have George Gervin ranked ahead of Charles Barkley?
Probably more explosive, better scorer. Better highlight reel. Barkley's, he's there in clutch moments, but I don't know. I think I like George Gervin a little bit better.
Well, to talk about some of what you said, George Gervin does average 3 more points a game than Charles Barkley for his career. Well, obviously Barkley, destroys him in rebounds. Barkley averages more assists and steals, but Barkley shoots 4% better from the field than Gervin. Gervin's very efficient, but Barkley's uber efficient, and they both really sucked from the three-point line in the 20s there. So, yeah. Personally, just from looking at this, I would say Barkley just brought more to the game.
I mean, that's true. But I gotta tip my little nod to the ABA guys because they were out there grinding, trying to keep something together. So I gotta throw a little extra +1 to George Gervin.
All right. Well, I'm done with you, Ray.
Sweet.
Uh-oh.
Drew's turn.
Uh-oh.
Drew, I found this interesting because once I looked at it, I was like, that's interesting. Why do you have Willis Reed ahead of Charles Barkley?
It is interesting. Wow. Okay, let me pull up my notes. Let me see what I was thinking. Like normal. Okay.
That is interesting, yeah.
Because how many of us have Willis Reed? I have Willis Reed.
I have Willis Reed.
So
I have Reed.
So 4 of us have Willis Reed on our list. So I'm not bashing Willis Reed. I just don't have him nearly as high as
He's my number 50.
He's in the late 40s for me. I don't remember where exactly.
He was a beast, though. I'll give you that.
I think with Willis Reed, he had 2 titles,
He does have a
2
title.
Finals MVPs, Rookie of the Year, an MVP. He has 1 more rebound a game than Charles. He does score 4 less points, but I think Willis had a little bit better team, so he didn't have to score quite as much as Charles. And then the assists, Willis isn't going to do much at center, so I think that's why, because he has more accolades, I think, than Charles. I think that's why I put him, especially 2 titles and 2 Finals MVPs, and he matches him with the MVP. So I think that's why.
Well, I will say it's a solid argument because when I looked at it when I was writing this down, I was like, 2 titles, same amount of MVPs. Like, I get it. I didn't do it, but I get it. And my last one for you, Drew. Why do you have Allen Iverson ahead of Charles Barkley?
Well, it's not because of win shares, I'll tell you that. I got you, Wade.
Wise.
Let me find AI real quick for us.
Better not say points again.
It's points. It's definitely points.
Well, neither one of them have a title. They both have 1 MVP.
Barkley's way more efficient than.
By about 12%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
AI has 4 scoring championships. I'll give him that.
He does.
Rookie of the Year, so I'm saying it's probably definitely scoring in the 4 scoring champs.
So we're looking at there's 4 points a game difference.
Yeah. To 7 rebounds.
8 rebounds.
Oh, 8 rebounds.
There's a 2 assist difference really.
Mhm.
Iverson averaged 2 more assists, and 1 more steal. But like I said, 12% difference in the field goal
for sure.
There's a few percent difference. Iverson shot better from the free throw line.
So yeah, it's just kind of, I don't know. I guess I took Iverson over Charles there.
Well, I know you and Uncle Doug and Ray really have a hankering for Smiling Iverson. You guys have him ranked pretty high.
Yeah.
Just 26 points per game really sticks out. I mean, I don't know. It does. And he got an MVP, so I don't know.
All right. Well, now I'm going to move on to Uncle Doug.
Yep.
And I could have asked this to somebody else, but I thought it was more interesting to ask you, Uncle Doug.
Okay.
Why do you have Bob Pettit at Barkley?
Okay.
Yeah, I could have.
It wasn't me.
I know.
All-Star games, LNBA are the same. Pettit, of course, Rookie of the Year. Pettit does have a title and 2 MVPs.
Yes.
So, and I know you guys don't like the old guys, but
Yeah,
stump
yeah.
for him a little bit.
He at least beat Bill Russell.
I already covered that. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you look at Bob Pettit, his numbers are fantastic.
Yeah.
He has some really nice accolades. This is what I do, and I think Wade agrees with me. Like, I do hold his era against him.
Yeah.
Not that I'm like, oh, you can't be on my list, because obviously he's on my list, but he's just knocked down my list because of, the first 4 or 5 years of his career is the 50s, not even the 60s, it's the 50s.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
I think we all agreed he was a beast when he played.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think when we adjusted his stats during the episode, I think we said they were like Karl Malone's.
Yeah, it was almost identical to Karl Malone.
The pace thing didn't really hurt him that much
So,
compared to other guys.
Yeah, it's not like his went totally down. Which let's not turn this into.
Well, the rebounds is where it really gets these guys when they pace adjust.
I think if out of everyone, Russell's it'll hurt Russell the most.
All right, so I'm done with Uncle Doug. So I just got 3 for Wade, and litigation will end.
Oh, 3. Okay.
Willard.
Yeah.
Why do you have Scottie Pippen ahead of Charles Barkley?
Well, I think prime Scottie Pippen is a better all-around basketball player than Charles Barkley, and he achieved more in the NBA.
Well, he did win more, that's for sure. There's no doubt Scottie's a better defender than Barkley.
Well, he's one of the greatest defenders ever. Well, that was Charles Barkley's weakness.
Mm-hmm.
And Pippen, also we know Pippen, one of the greatest at getting steals. He was also elite at getting blocks to his position. Prime Scottie Pippen would also give you 20, maybe 22 points, 6-8 assists, 6-8 rebounds. He was a phenomenal all-around player. And Barkley was a beast. So I think I have them one spot apart.
You do, yeah, one spot.
I don't think the difference is big. So I think they both have a similar effect on the game, and Pippen won more. So I went with 6 championships over 0.
Well, I do agree with you, and the championships are hard to pass up. But I think I asked this in an episode where you were gone, Wade.
Yeah.
Where do you draw the line with championships? And for instance, this situation,
Yeah.
Scottie has 6 championships, but none of them were as a best player.
True.
Barkley was always the best player on his team. And maybe this isn't apples to apples, but he obviously has no championships. But where do you think you find that line, whether it's 0 championships or 2 championships or 3 championships, as a best player? Where does that overtake a bunch of them as a second or third best player?
Oh Lord, I got this.
It's tough,
there's
isn't
so
it?
many
Yeah,
different
yeah.
situations to think about. I don't know. It's tough. Like I said, I guess it was in our first take that got deleted. I don't think Charles Barkley is like an unclutched player that couldn't win. He just had. Go ahead and take it. He got beat by better teams, including Pippen's team. But at the same time, I don't want to discredit Scottie for being the second best player on maybe the greatest team ever. So that's some pretty good shit.
Well, I will say this. I think Scottie is the reason that Bull's team is better than his son's team, because he didn't have a Scottie Pippen,
Yeah.
and the rest of the team was comparable to that son's team.
Yeah, the first 3 championship with Jordan and Pippen, there's no third Hall of Famer. Horace Grant was good, but he's not great.
He's
And
an all-star, but not a Hall
it's
of
a bunch
Famer.
of it's a bunch of players that we know their names because they played with Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
They weren't that good,
Mhm.
to be completely honest. And Pippen and Jordan dominated the NBA. And I'm never gonna say Pippen should have been the number 1, or but I'm not.
You don't agree with Scotty?
No.
Well, damn.
My big thing, I missed the Pippen episode with Pippen, is Scottie Pippen in his prime, because I think his career averages are somewhat lower because he stuck around too long.
He
But
did.
prime Scottie Pippen, you're still getting your 20 to 22 points, which Barkley's going to get you more. I acknowledge that, and Barkley's going to rebound more. But Pippen is not only a much better defender, he's, in my opinion, probably one of the 3 greatest perimeter defenders ever. And he's an elite rebounder. He ran point forward for maybe the greatest team ever, and he could still get you buckets when he had to.
I don't disagree with your perimeter defender thing, but I want to ask you about it.
Yeah.
You said top 3. Who are the other 2?
Kawhi.
Oh, Lord.
Kawhi and who?
And then I have to think. There's a lot of great ones out there. Actually, one that I did a lot of reading on is actually Michael Cooper. Michael Cooper was a great defender.
Or what, Cindy Moncrief?
Moncrief, DJ. Was
DJ,
a really good
yeah,
defender.
DJ.
Because I read a big article about Michael Cooper. He's been getting Hall of Fame votes because they think
Mhm.
he was such a dominant defender and helped those Laker teams so much. They've been trying to get him in the Hall of Fame recently.
And he used to shoot some threes when he needed to, and of course,
Yeah.
the Koopa Loop was awesome.
Well, I don't dislike Michael Cooper or anything like that, but Cooper falls into that category of guys we talked about, these 60s Celtics teams.
Yeah.
If he played for the Atlanta Hawks, we might know who he is, but we wouldn't be talking about him being in the
Right.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But because he has 4 championships, or what is it, 4? Was he there for the first one?
I
didn't-
don't remember if he was there for the first one or not.
Either way, it's because he has 4 championships on a dynasty that we're talking about the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Kind of like Tommy Heinsohn or Casey Jones.
Well,
you know.
actually, Casey Jones was their perimeter stopper.
He was, yeah.
He was a phenomenal. He wasn't going to fill the box score. He was a phenomenal perimeter defender.
If I remember correctly, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think Casey Jones's career numbers are like 11, 2, and 3.
Yeah, he.
Yeah, but
just
but he
a lot of defense.
but he made the Hall of Fame on his first ballot. You know what I mean? Like now he has like what 10 championships. So, but anyway, yeah. I mean, we talked about it in the Scotty episode. Wade. I mean, his best season. The first season, Jordan's gone. He's 22, 8 and 5, and 2 steals.
I just think his all-around game doesn't get talked about enough because there are a lot of guys that can outscore Scotty. That I acknowledge that.
Yeah, I don't think he was an overly gifted scorer.
But he was a good scorer.
Yeah, solid.
But he was just, I think, in my opinion, one of the greatest all-around players ever. And he hit the lottery with teammates, and that
he
led
did.
to a lot of team success.
All right, Wade. Next one.
Yeah.
Why do you have Dirk at Barkley?
Dirk.
Yes,
Dirk has the most impressive championship I've ever seen in my lifetime.
I agree with you.
He took down a super team as a lone superstar. And he brought things to the game that no other power forward's ever done before, as far as shooting the basketball, which I've talked about with Steph Curry and Reggie Miller and Ray Allen, how valuable that is to a team.
Yeah, I also have Dirk at Barkley.
Yeah.
Does anybody else?
I don't think so.
I believe Dirk is my 3, I think, and Barkley's my 4.
Never mind. I have Barkley ahead of Dirk.
I have Dirk at 4 and Barkley at 5.
I have Barkley at 4 and Dirk at 5 or 6.
All right, my last one, Wade, and I think you see it coming. We're going to go the other direction. Why do you have Barkley ahead of Russell?
Because he's fucking Clint Capella.
Well, Clint Capella wins the Lambic Championships. We'll probably talk about Clint Capella pretty impressively.
Well, Yeah, maybe if 2/3 of the league does quits playing, like they did back then with like 9 teams. I don't want to hear it. I'm just joking. No, I mean, I've gone on this rant before. I know we won. The team was really good. But I think if he transfers other eras, He's a good defensive power forward, maybe center.
I think he would be a center today. I think he'd be a power forward in the 80s and 90s and stuff.
He I'm not even saying this to try to be funny. He legit sucked on offense in the easiest era to score. And he was one of the biggest, most athletic guys out there, with the exception of a couple players, and he was terrible at it. I don't see him and when you take away all of the extra possessions and missed shots when people started learning how to properly play basketball, which again, it's just a fact. I'm not trying to be sarcastic. All the rebounds go away. So the rebounds go away. You still suck on offense. That's just, you're a good defender.
Well, I think a lot of what you said is true. But, you mentioned his rebounds. When you do pace adjust, he still averages more rebounds a game than Barkley.
Well, that's cool.
So,
I mean, okay. And today, let me think of a good example. Is there anybody in the NBA that's 6'9" that averages 15 boards a game? That's built like Russell?
Capella's close. Capella, I think, averaged 14 last year.
14? Okay, so I was right the first time. Capella.
What about Sabonis?
I mean, I was asking if there are people that do it.
I mean, Sabonis is pretty close. I don't know what his weight is, but...
I mean, Dwight Howard's listed at 6'9".
Well, I mean, do you think Dwight and Bill Russell are similar?
I mean, they're not similar. I mean, they're both 6'9" similar. That's what I was getting at. I mean, Dwight's built differently than Bill Russell. Yeah.
And everyone has a Bill Russell after Bill Russell. He's not a rare thing to have on your team.
It's true.
There's Calvin Booths everywhere. Get out of here.
Calvin Booth? Why Calvin Booth?
I remember him from NBA Live 2002. Stephon Marbury in the front.
Wow.
He played for the Seattle SuperSonics.
Yeah, I know who he is. I just what? That was a rare call out there to Calvin Booth.
Couldn't tell you who Calvin Booth is
because he was on the most loaded team in the worst era of basketball ever, in my opinion.
Okay, but that's one of my questions for you, Wade.
I don't think he's good at basketball past that point. That's what I'm telling you.
No. That's one of my questions is I feel like you argue both sides of it.
Which part?
Well, you talk about how his teammates suck, but then you talk about how his team was better than everybody's.
No, I said that era sucks. That basketball sucks.
No, I know, but I mean, you're talking about Kuzi couldn't beat a high school kid.
Yeah, because they all suck. That's my point. I admitted that Bob Cousy was the best point guard in the league at that time. I said that in the episode.
Yeah, you did.
But Drew could beat him. That's just how it goes, man.
And you also said you're talking about how other guys leave to go get paid triple their salary. You said that earlier.
Oh, yeah.
How they leave.
Well, back then, isn't that we talked about that?
Yeah.
Leaving.
Paul Harrison went to work for IBM, and
they tripled his salary.
Somebody went to work for a bank.
Yeah.
Was that Dolph Shays, maybe?
It might have been
We
Shays.
talked about a handful of them that did it.
Yeah, there were several of them that did it because corporate America was just paying better.
Yeah, which is crazy. I mean, crazy compared to what we see today.
Oh, yeah.
Well, who was it? They were talking the other day. Oh, I was reading, I've been reading Juiced, Jose Canseco's book. And he was talking about in 1990, he signed the biggest contract in Major League Baseball history. And it was for like $20 million. And you're like,
times have changed.
We're in the 400 millions on contracts now.
His book is really called Juiced?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, just throwing it out there, huh?
Yep.
No, I mean, when it came out, it was, breaking news. Like, he wrote a book on not only himself using steroids, but all the people he gave steroids to, like McGuire and Clemens and Tejada and Giambi. And, like, I'm reading it, and he's just naming all these guys. Like, I just took them in a stall and stuck a needle in their ass. And you're like, oh my God. Shit.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, at the time, it was a big deal. I mean, Congress got involved. Yep. Like, it was the big deal.
Made him famous again.
It did. That's true, too.
Yeah. Isn't he the one that...
Come on, boys, line up in a urinal.
Isn't he the one where he went to go catch the fly ball and it bounced off his glove into the...
No, it bounced off his head.
His head,
yeah.
Which had to hurt, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
We all make fun of him because it was a dumb play, but it had to hurt so bad.
It did.
Take a fly ball off the dome.
I did.
It did.
Yeah.
Mom took one off the leg.
That's true.
I had this big
That's
old
true.
goose
We were
egg
there
in
for that.
first grade at my YMCA program for swimming. This big old knot on my head.
Oh, Drufus. All right, well, that is the end of Alex's litigation corner. I don't have any more questions for anybody. Does anybody have any questions for me?
I got one for you.
All right.
Why Charles ahead of Moses Malone?
You know, I thought about that earlier when I was looking over my list.
And you've got him close. I mean, Charles is 16, Moses is 18.
Yeah. I think some of it, again, is where they fell on my list, my position list, because I have Barkley so much higher on the power forward list than I do Moses on the center list. Not like it's like Moses is like 10 or anything, but just he's a little bit higher. And I think maybe part of it also had to do with me watching Charles growing up and being like, whoa. And the things Moses was so great at were boring. Like, he's the greatest offensive rebounder of all time. Well, I mean, that's valuable and it's cool, but it's boring as shit. Like,
Well,
you know.
I mean, Moses had a pretty long career,
he did.
but you don't think about him having a long career. I think about Moses Malone as having just this short burst where he was really great because you saw him so much for a little while, and then you didn't see that much out of him. Whereas you saw Charles for pretty much the whole career.
Mm-hmm. And Moses got, 3 MVPs?
Yeah,
And he won the title with the 76ers.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that title run was dominant. They were something else.
I will say that I would probably say Charles did more on a basketball floor than Moses Malone. Moses Malone was more dominant at a few things, but Charles, I think, had more overall skill, maybe. As
More
a passer.
versatility.
Yeah.
Well,
versatility.
I have them pulled up. Charles averages 2 more points a game for his career, while Moses averages 1 more rebound. Barkley averages 3 more assists a game, and a steal more a game, while Malone has the block. They average identical turnovers. Barkley shoots 5% better from the field. Threes, Moses didn't shoot threes. And Moses shoots 3% better from the free throw line. I mean, we're literally talking about like the number 1 and number 3 offensive rebounders of all time.
Yeah.
So I mean, what Moses was the best at, Barkley was elite at as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Because Barkley actually, I don't know if he still does, but for a while held the record for most offensive rebounds in a half at 13.
Holy, 13 and 1/2?
And he had 11 in a quarter.
11 offensive rebounds in a quarter.
That's crazy.
Who was he playing against? Drew and me? Like, what?
I don't know, but he was dominating somebody.
Time to go to Google.
11 offensive rebounds in 1 quarter. That's insane. Like, stuff like that is weird to me because, like, when guys do, like, crazy scoring things in a quarter or a half or a game or whatever, I'm like, he got hot. He was sizzling. You know, he was hitting things with guys in his face, things like that. You don't get hot and grab rebounds. Like I said earlier, rebounds is just outworking guys.
So for the half, did you say?
13 and a half.
Well, maybe Charles Barkley got
Moses
hot
Mo-
and getting rebounds. You never know.
Moses had 21 in a game. Let me find the half.
Wow. I mean, Moses Malone is one of the greatest rebounders ever. I mean, I think
Oh, yeah.
most of us knew that. I mean, just flat out, all rebounding. He's one of the greatest.
Well, he has 6 rebounding titles, Moses Malone
That's
does.
what I'm saying. That's one of his calling cards.
Moses he had 6 rebounding titles. He has a season where he averaged 17.5 rebounds. That was in 78-79. Yeah. That's a ton. He also played a ton of minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he has, 4 seasons where he played over 40 minutes a game. Moses Malone, I mean. That's crazy. I mean, his rookie season, he averaged 18 and 14.
And didn't he come straight out of high school?
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine going to the NBA and averaging 18 and 14?
Well, it was actually the ABA, but
Oh, yeah.
but yeah,
You know, that's pretty impressive
it
for
is.
an 18-year-old.
Oh, well, I agree.
Hell,
Right,
impressive.
Alberta, I got one for you. Unless, does anyone else have one?
I mean, I got one, but you can go first.
Okay.
What's up?
All right, Alberta. Why Barkley in front of Durant?
I think it's pretty much what I've been asked about Durant a couple times, and I don't remember where I have him exactly, but I don't have him low.
22.
22, yeah. It's just a lot of it just because he's on a finished product, and I want to see what he does. I think I said I think it was the Ewing episode. Somebody asked me about it, I think, or something, and I was like, I don't like to put guys that aren't finished products ahead of guys that have finished up their 18-year career or whatever. I think it's something. I said something like that. I think that's pretty much where it's at. I mean,
I don't know, but I think.
Go ahead.
No, I think they probably played a similar amount of games. Barkley might have a little bit more, but Durant's in what, year 14?
Is it 14?
Could be.
I mean, he came out at like 19 years old. And he played 1 year at Texas.
Yeah, he did do that.
I believe he's 33, 34 range.
Hmm.
I'm pulling it
He
up.
might be I'm guessing at 14, but I bet it's somewhere close to that.
Damn.
Durant's played 906 games, while Barkley played 1,073. So they're
Okay.
relatively
Getting
close.
I just thought at this point, even if you take out, we'll take out the championships because Barkley never played on a super team, so we'll even take that out. I mean, Barkley's a better rebounder.
Right.
I think that's pretty much where it ends. Durant's one of the greatest scorers ever.
He is.
Yeah.
4 scoring championships. They each have 1 MVP. Durant's got 2 Finals MVPs. Well, obviously Barkley doesn't have any, but sorry. I was train of thought. Oh, Durant's even a better rim protector in the paint than Charles Barkley is. He's a better perimeter defender. They're both probably similar passing.
They both averaged 4 assists for their career. Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, I think just Durant has the edge over a lot of the stuff that Barkley does.
Believe. I mean,
rebounding,
obviously not
obviously.
from 3, but believe it or not, Barkley's more efficient.
Well, because he's a big man, he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But Durant's a much better 3-point and free throw shooter.
Yeah.
That's why they started doing the old true shooting percentage. Was actually Barkley, advanced stats wise, actually is one of the greatest advanced stats people ever. I've heard that multiple things, and I started looking it up and compared him to other players. Even his advanced stats, like that's his edge over like Garnett and Malone and Dirk. When I was comparing them all, like they all kind of have their thing. Advanced stats, Barkley beats them in a lot of things.
Huh.
Yeah.
Advanced stats love Charles Barkley
True shooting percentage, him and Durant are almost identical. They're like
Yeah.
1/1000th apart.
because it takes in all of his long distance shooting,
Mm-hmm.
so it kind of takes in your overall value of your shot. But yes, he's a advanced stats megastar. Really is.
Yeah.
I'm not even counting win shares. Not at all.
Well, he has more than Iverson.
He does. He does.
A lot of people have more than Iverson.
Actually, I
Case
believe.
and point. Drew.
I
Case
believe
and point.
Barkley has quite a few, if I remember looking earlier.
He has
It was like 170 some or something.
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
177.
Yeah, which I think is the second highest total we've seen so far.
Second? You think so?
Of the players we've done so far. Because Stockton has like 207.
Yeah.
But I think Barkley is next, unless I missed somebody that I'm not
pretty
thinking
sure
of.
Reggie's. Well, I don't know his exact amount. Reggie was a ways up there. I don't know his exact number. It might, if it's not 170, I believe it was maybe. What the fuck was it?
I'm getting him pulled up. Hold
I
on.
remember it was more than Iverson because I brought it up.
Everyone has more than Iverson.
I know.
You brought people up that I had no idea.
Elton Brand, baby.
I knew Elton Brand.
Win shares. Reggie Miller, 174. You are correct. So 3 below Barkley.
Really, guys that had really good careers that played a long time. If you were
He played
still
on
one of
winning
the best
teams.
players on the teams that
Yeah.
won, you were going to get a part of a win share. So
True.
it just depends.
True. All right, what's your question there, Ray?
I just want to know why you have Isaiah above Barkley.
The championships.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and you notice I left Reggie out this week. I didn't pick on you with Reggie again this week. 'Cause you have
I
Reggie
mean-
ahead of Barkley too.
Well, we all
Damn
know
right.
why.
Yeah.
So just totally the titles, skill set wise.
Titles, they played very, very close. I mean, they overlapped for, 7 or 8 years. So they played very, very similar during the greatest era of basketball, I believe. They, played the same era. One obviously out-rebounded the other one out-assisted the other in landslide victories. Their scoring's close. Barkley does outscore him a little bit, but the titles pushed it over the top for me.
All right. And just to let everybody know, he's got Isaiah at 15 and Charles at 16. So I was trying to figure out the hair-splitting question there. So
Yeah, one spot apart. Yeah, I knew they were close. I couldn't remember exactly.
okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, do we want to give our closing statements on old Charles Barkley and move on, or somebody got something else they want to do?
I think we're good.
Sounds good.
All right. Drew, what you got closing statement-wise?
Well, Charles is obviously a great player. I think it's just hard for me to identify Charles with someone because he bounced around so much. And I think if someone said, or if maybe it was in our first take, I think I associate him with the Suns because that's where he got his MVP, where he made his finals, and where he himself associates himself there. I think he likes Phoenix the best out of his 3 destinations he had through his career.
Well, I'm not going to lie, Drew. When I think Barkley, I think the Suns. Even though he was there shorter than Philly, I think the Suns. Because he did win his MVP there. He made his finals appearance there. He had multiple 60-win seasons there. Like that's what comes to mind when I think Charles. And I mean, just personal.
Yeah,
stuff.
that one video of him and Dennis Rodman fighting over a rebound when Dennis played for Detroit and Barkley played for Philadelphia. So
I have a basketball card at home, and if I remember correctly, Wade has the same card, where it's a card of somebody else, but in the card, the guy is bag tagging Charles Barkley. Like the back of the guy's hand is in Barkley's groin, and Barkley has this horrible look on his face.
It does sound familiar.
Yeah.
I'm going to look back through my basketball cards.
Somebody was about to get clocked, too.
Yeah.
So anyway, Ray, that leads us to you, buddy.
Just like I said before, I mean, I don't hate on Charles. I really love Charles. He's a phenomenal player. It's just when you know you're great and you just say fuck it, I just lose a little bit of respect for you, and that's why he's down on my list a little bit. But other than that, if he would have stepped up just, a tad bit, or even, maybe just hit Michael in the face a couple times, he'd be in the top 20, but he just said, just fuck it like too many times and just let it go and just said, I'm just cool with where I'm at and just let it slide. But that's why he's at where he's at. I love Charles, but dude, you should have stepped up when you could. You could have had at least one, maybe.
Well, I'm seeing a pattern form here, Ray, where the last few weeks, these 90s guys that you supposedly love, now you're like, well, they should have beat Jordan. They should have beat Jordan.
Well, I mean, for real, though, there's a couple times they should have just knocked him on his fucking ass and just took the title, and they just said, here you go, Jordan. Take it from me.
Well, that was the whole Pistons thing. They knocked him on his ass, and they overcame it, so they knew how to beat that.
Yeah.
Because, the Knicks tried to do it again later.
And the Pacers.
Yeah, and the Pacers, yeah.
Yeah.
Why didn't the Pacers take it from him? Why didn't Reggie take a title from him?
Well, I mean... Here we go.
you're opening Pandora's box.
Don't fall into the trap, Ray. Just dismiss it and move on.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
I'm really just
look,
giving you a hard time.
No, we were a similar team. It's just Jordan is just that inch better than everybody else. I mean, we had the better team. Jordan's just a better player. So
probably not wrong in part of that.
Interesting. Okay. Fair enough. So that leads us to Uncle Doug.
Yeah, the round mound of rebound. I loved watching him play at Auburn, then on to the NBA. He's one of those guys that I just wish had won a title. I really feel like Charles deserved for everything he did, as hard as he worked. I mean, I know he wasn't always in shape, but he gave it all on the floor. And I wish Charles had somehow gotten a title.
yeah.
Uncle Doug, I have a question for you.
Yep.
I know it's supposed to be closing statements, but I'm thinking of stuff. As somebody that was old enough to watch him play at Auburn, I was looking at his Auburn stats, and they're not very impressive. Why did he become a superstar in the NBA and he wasn't in college?
Yeah, he just, I think probably, I remember watching him come in because it was a big deal. This short, chubby guy was running up and down the floor and grabbing these rebounds and doing this stuff. And again, probably, I think he really struggled with his weight then,
Yeah.
and that may have held him back. I don't. Auburn definitely was not a basketball power,
No.
and I doubt that he had much help, and so he probably got double teamed and triple teamed.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, because I mean, he played 3 years at Auburn. I think his best season was like 18-9.
Yeah.
But like the seasons before that, he was like 13-7 and like 14-8, and like not that
Right.
they were terrible, but I just mean like in the NBA he went 28-14.
Right, yeah, just
like,
blew up.
You know, so yeah.
I think in college though, a lot of great players sometimes get stuck when college is a much more team game than the NBA.
That's true.
So your
Yeah.
stats aren't always what you're not going to constantly have the ball. They're going to run a concept. The coach is going to have a system they're going to implement,
Mhm.
and you're going to run within that system.
You don't have
And-
a big
and
a
if
voice
you're in the
in
coach's
college either.
doghouse because you're not
Yeah.
making weight.
That's true too. That's very true.
You
You
can't
know.
just.
That's probably why Barkley never played for Pat Riley either.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, is that all you had, Uncle Doug?
Yep. That's it.
All right. So that leads us to Willard.
I mean, I think we've all complimented Barkley quite a lot. When I made my list, I put him inside my top 20. I felt pretty comfortable about it. And when we make our final list at the end, he's probably still going to be in my top 20. He's one of the greatest players ever. I don't really care if he won a title or not. That's pretty much it.
All right. Well, I agree with what Wade said. I'm very comfortable with where I have Charles. I was actually a little taken back at where Drew and Ray had him. I didn't think he would fall that low on anybody's list. But I do think he's all-time great. But I had a question that I meant to ask earlier and I didn't, so I'm going to ask it now in my closing statement. It's a what-if question like we like to do.
Oh, great.
What happens to careers if Stockton plays with Barkley instead of Malone?
I don't think a whole lot, really.
Well, I think Malone personally is better than Barkley.
I mean, I have him ranked higher than Barkley, yes.
Yeah.
So I don't
Yeah.
think. I mean, obviously, I think they're all, even without each other, all great Hall of Fame players. I don't think one made the other in any way, shape, or form as far as Malone and Stockton.
Yeah.
And I think Stockton and Malone need each other because they both perfected the pick and roll
Mm.
and the pick and pop. While Barkley was more of a open court, he'll take the ball, he'll get the rebound. He doesn't need Stockton to dribble it up and give it to him. He'll just take the whole fucking
Yeah.
thing all the way up and dunk it. Like that was his kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
He would get up and down the court, not necessarily needing a dominant point guard. But a dominant point guard does help great players.
Let me specify my question more then. I also said in the Stockton episode that I thought Malone and Stockton would both be great without each other. So I do agree with you, Wade, that I think all three of them are going to be great no matter what we do with them. But I also said that, and I think it's pretty widely accepted, that Malone wilted in big moments in big games. And I said, Mark told me I was crazy, but I controversially said that I thought Malone was Stockton's biggest problem when it came to winning. But Barkley didn't have that problem. Barkley had a different problem. Barkley's problem was when games were close, he took terrible shots and was very inefficient at the end of games a lot. And I guess what I'm more asking is, would Stockton have fixed that? And then he has a teammate that doesn't wilt in big moments in big games, but he can get that teammate better shots, easier shots in the moments that matter, and they are maybe more successful.
I don't know if that's really the problem. The problem was the 90s, and you just Jordan whipped your ass.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
to
mean,
be totally honest.
Well, I mean, I don't think you haven't had a chance to talk, Uncle. You can answer if you want to.
No, go right ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I kind of get where you're coming from. That I think it just depends on how you view Stockton and Malone and Barkley. Malone does have a couple of rough moments in the playoffs, but I mean overall he was still a phenomenal player in the playoffs. His career averages, I think, are more impressive than Stockton's. And I wasn't here for the Stockton episode, so I don't think I said this, obviously. But a big problem, I think, with the Jazz and with that team, Stockton was good enough he could take advantage of shitty point guards, but when he played good point guards, Stockton couldn't score. He couldn't really create for himself and score a ton. He had some big series. I saw some like insane stat lines, but it was like against Matt Mahoney on the Houston Rockets and stuff like that. When he played great point guards or defensive-minded point guards, he wasn't talented enough to score, and the rest of the team couldn't score except Karl Malone. So the other team's defense knew exactly where the ball was going to go, who was going to get it, and probably where he was going to get it. So then they just swarmed on Malone, and there was no one else to score the ball.
I think we did briefly touch on that in the Stockton episode. They should have added a wing scorer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
They
I think
should
that
have.
was the biggest problem, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
But
No, I just think, I forget which one of you said it earlier, is I think Malone fit Stockton's style better than Charles.
I agree.
I think Charles, like you say, was more of a free-flowing, and Carl fit that pick and pop, pick and roll. I mean, he loved it, and he was good at it.
Yeah. And when the Utah Jazz hit their apex, when they were making the finals back-to-back, he was already on the way down.
He was.
He, as in Charles Barkley.
Yes.
And let's be honest, how well would Charles have done in Salt Lake City?
Not good.
Awful.
Him and Jerry Sloan would have killed each other.
Yeah, I'll say he and Sloan in
Jerry's-
Salt Lake City.
Jerry Sloan was a hard ass, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yes, he was.
Yes.
Very much.
And him and Charles would have butted heads immediately.
And
Oh,
yeah,
100%.
that would have been ugly.
Yeah.
Charles in Salt Lake City would have been ugly.
Yeah.
Well, I think even today, the Jazz target specific people. They don't just go after every superstar that comes available and offer them money. Indiana's the same way. Indiana doesn't do that either.
Well, let me
market.
just say something about Indiana. We're on a budget, and we're just trying to get what we can on a budget.
Most
No.
small market teams.
No, I mean, yeah, half the NBA is built that way. But I mean, they don't go out and get these big flamboyant attitudes,
Right.
Because they don't fit their small market
fan
mentality.
base.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fan base.
That's why they like Sabonis.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's why they like Sabonis. That's why they loved Reggie. That's why they liked Malone and Stockton. Stockton, after the game, went home and changed diapers, and you didn't see him again until he came
Right.
back to bust your
Right.
ass on
Yeah.
game day. Like that's where Stockton was. Malone lived up in a mountain, and
He's
you
a
know,
country boy.
Yeah, and you never
Yeah.
saw him. Like that. I mean, that's the type of mentality these teams look for. I mean, I know a lot of times we try and relate it to race, but 2 of the 3 superstars we just named are African American.
Right.
I mean, like, I just think it's a mentality thing. It's who you are as a person, and that's the type of thing they're looking for. The country bumpkin thing played well in Utah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
You
did.
know, like, or the soft-spoken family man worked well in
Yeah.
Utah. Reggie wasn't necessarily soft-spoken, but it was just all about basketball. He wasn't running his mouth in the media.
No.
It was on the court. He talked
Yeah.
shit to you while he scored.
And he backed it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was good in the community. He was
Yes.
great with the team, and he was very loyal.
Yes.
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 Very much so.
Loyalty, that was the big one.
And he appreciated Indiana's basketball heritage.
Yes.
Mhm.
And the
Definitely,
fans,
100%.
Just the fan base in general, I'd say. I think he loved it there.
I think so too. Like he said the other, it's probably been a few months back or maybe longer, I don't remember. But I saw the interview where he was like, if Michael would have called me and asked me to come join with him, I would have told him to go fuck himself.
Yeah.
And, Indiana fans were like, oh yeah, fuck Mike, yeah, Reggie, that's our guy, and it's like Indiana fans ate that shit up,
Oh, yeah,
like,
we did. You're fucking right.
That's the mentality you want your
Fuck
best
Michael
player to
Jordan.
have.
Oh, 100%. All my superstars leave, so I get it. I don't have that one superstar that was loyal to my franchise. I don't have that guy. Shaq left, Penny left, McGrady left, Dwight left. I ain't got one. Even Vooch is gone now. He's not even a superstar. He's just an all-star.
Yeah.
The Bulls are balling
Got
out
Cole
now.
Anthony, man.
All Alex has is the memory of 95 and Blue Chips.
Blue Chip's a good movie, man.
It was a good movie.
We made the title. We made the championship in 10 too.
Yeah, you and lost in 4.
It was 4 or 5.
It was
It was
five.
five.
It was
Five.
five. They
Was it
got
five?
one game.
Yeah.
You guys got 1. Yeah.
Raised it like fuck
You
it.
got 1. We got 2. So we got you.
Yeah. Yep. Same amount of championships. Fuck the small markets, right?
Yeah, fuck us.
All right. I guess that wraps up our Charles Barkley portion of this episode, and we can move into trivia. Drew?
I love it how we just swing it to me. What is the only NBA team ever to be based out of Iowa?
Say that one more time.
What NBA team was based out of Iowa for a while?
Ooh.
It's like the city and name.
Do you
So we can list the current team they are now. Will that work? Like who they turned
I'm
into?
not sure what current team they are now, honestly.
Oh, okay.
crap?
I just know what they were back then. I can look that up real quick.
So you want to know what city it was and what the team name was?
yeah.
Okay.
It's a current name now in the NBA, though. But I don't know if it still is them now.
Okay. All right.
So that usually...
Well, I guess that's true because the Hornets aren't the Hornets,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
And so I mean,
Yeah.
and like the Thunder and the Sun, like it's all
Right,
weird.
yeah, it all
so
changes.
Okay. So can I just list the team down?
yeah.
what city in Iowa?
They are not a current NBA team.
Okay, I'm just gonna write.
But it
that
has the
down.
same mascot as the current NBA team.
It doesn't help.
All right, I got to
What's going
guess.
on here?
I got to guess. But it's
Um,
just that, a guess.
Yeah, I gotta guess. I'm
Just
just
off TikTok.
No. It's not.
It has a current. Okay, well, we'll go with this. Okay.
This is ridiculous.
I think I know.
Okay.
All right, let's
Alright.
see.
Iowa Cornstalks.
I said the Des Moines Kings.
Okay.
Bobcats.
Okay.
I said the Grand Rapid Bulls.
The Waterloo Hawks.
Oh, I was gonna put the fucking
Waterloo?
Waterloo? Really?
God damn it!
Fuck.
Fucking
Only reason I put the Bobcats because he said it's the current mascot and team, and Boomer the Bobcat is the Pacers mascot. So I'd rather put it. God damn it, Drew! You snuck in on me.
All
And that is the only team ever in the major four sports to be based out of Iowa. They were a team
Yeah.
from 1948 to 1951.
Oh, gee.
And then they just folded like
Yep,
bankruptcy or
Yep,
something.
folded.
Why? I can see being out of Waterloo.
Yeah, Waterloo.
I don't even know where that's
Okay.
at.
Yeah.
We're this close to Iowa. And I don't know where Waterloo
I'm not
is.
sure.
That's why they folded. They couldn't sell any tickets. Nobody could find the
Couldn't
arena.
find it.
Let's see where it's at. Where is Waterloo?
Sounds like a team that would have been on semi-pro. Will Ferrell.
Right? Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah.
Oh, the Tropics versus Waterloo Hawks. Yeah.
Waterloo is from Canton, Missouri.
Drew still can't find it.
You know what? He just said we're in Canton, Missouri. I don't think we've ever said that before. People are now Googling Canton, Missouri to figure out where the fuck we are.
We're 3 hours away from Waterloo.
3 hours, huh?
So it's northern
Okay.
Iowa, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Well, who would like to go next?
I got mine pulled up.
Willard.
All right. From 2012 to 2021, 4 different players have led the league in triple doubles. Russell Westbrook has done it 6 times. Luka Doncic has done it once. Who are the other 2 players to do it?
Wow. Good question, Willard.
All right, I have mine, I think. So, there you go.
Wow. 12 to...
12 till last year.
Okay.
All right, I gotta guess.
Yep.
I got to guess.
Okay.
I said James Harden and LeBron.
I said the same thing.
Okay.
I said Harden and KD.
I said Harden and Sabonis.
Well, you're going to like one of them. It's Rondo and Lance Stevenson.
Lance
No
Stevenson.
shit.
Really?
Stevenson led the league in, I think it was 14.
Wow.
Wow, I had not
And
seen-
Rondo did it multiple times. Yes, Lance Stevenson led in 14 with a whopping 5 triple doubles.
Only 5, huh?
Oh my God.
Before Russell started, I think that was a decent number. Before Russell started his insane numbers, because Rondo led the league in 12 with 6 and led the league in 13 with 5.
Oh
And
my
I remember
God.
Jason Kidd used to be really high, and he just get a handful a year.
Yeah, he's like 180 in an 18-year career or something
So,
like that.
yeah.
So.
So I mean, he's not getting an astronomical amount like Westbrook. And then Westbrook, okay, listen to this shit. It goes from 15 to 21. Westbrook 11. Westbrook 18. Westbrook 42. Westbrook 25. Westbrook 34. Luka 17. Westbrook 38.
And Westbrook 6 losing seasons.
I think he has a handful this year too.
He's got I think at least a couple.
He's got a couple, yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're not like the 30-point ones he did with OKC,
Right.
but like the other night I think he had like 13, 10, and 11 or something like that. Like,
Well, yeah, that's what they need him to do is be able to drive and kick or drive and dump off to
Right.
Anthony Davis.
well, really what they need is, regardless of how many points he's going to score, whether LeBron's out and he needs to score 20, or LeBron and AD are both there, he only needs to score 12. He needs to do it without taking 30 shots.
Right. He needs to do it efficiently.
Yeah.
his turnovers are high right now too.
Ridiculously high. Like I think he's on pace to break the single season record right now.
Oh, God.
jeez.
And he doesn't even handle the ball all the time.
Well, when LeBron quits missing a bunch of time, he'll have the ball in his hands. So
Yeah.
hopefully that'll help.
All right. Ray, Uncle Doug, anyone want to go next?
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. All Ray's questions lately have been about like 1950s. So if we
Oh, was
continue
it
in
John
history.
Smith? Was that the
Well,
one?
this is going to be a New York Knicks
Joe
question.
Smith.
Joe
New York
Smith.
He was
Knicks,
actually a
okay.
player in like the 90s and stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Early 2000s.
Name 2 of the 3 New York Knicks players who have won the Sixth Man of the Year award. And I'll give you 3 names.
Hold on. You said name 2 of the 3.
2 of the 3 New York Knicks players who have won Sixth Man of the Year awards. And I mean,
So we can write down 3 names. What you're saying, right?
yeah, go ahead. And,
We
you know
can
what?
guess
I'm not
3.
going to say any names then because I think this might be wrong. But name 2 of the 3 New York Knicks players who have won the Sixth Man of the Year award.
Okay.
2 of the 3. Okay.
And you're gonna let us guess 3 names.
Yeah, I'll let you guess 3 names because I have
Okay.
3 names here, so we'll let it go.
Okay.
I think he played for the Knicks for a minute.
There's been a lot of guys play for the Knicks.
You're not wrong.
I think they remade their franchise like 4 times in 5 years one time.
Yeah,
When did the Sixth Man of the Year come about?
That's what
I
I'm
don't
trying to
know.
think
I'm
about.
struggling with that,
Yeah.
too.
Because there were some old Knicks teams that were loaded.
Yeah,
They had
like-
really good players come off the bench.
Yeah, like Bill Bradley came off the bench for those Reed teams.
Phil Jackson.
Mm.
Phil Jackson, yeah.
Yeah.
Phil Jackson was a quality player, actually.
He was, yeah. And he's got 2 championships.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Well, I got my 3. I highly doubt they're right, but
Okay, I got 3.
I got 3.
All right, I wrote down 3.
I said Jamal Crawford, Starks, and Charles Oakley.
I said John Starks, Jamal Crawford, and J.R. Smith.
I said Jamal Crawford, Bargnani, and Allen Houston.
I said Starks, Bradley, and Jackson. I went with the old guys.
Okay, so I have 3 names here. And the question says 2 of the 3, so I don't really understand what the book's telling me. But I'll give you the 3 names. Anthony Mason, John Starks, and J.R. Smith.
Boom! I got it!
So there you are. So
Anthony Mason won Sixth Man of the Year there. Okay.
Wow.
So he would have been coming off the bench behind like Ewing and Larry Johnson or something?
well, that's what I'm trying to confirm because I feel like Anthony Mason is not the one that's won Sixth Man of the Year.
I don't know.
I'll Google it.
Okay, well, I got Starks anyway.
Anthony Mason.
Yeah,
Okay.
come on, Google Drew.
I'll go next. And I will stick with my draft theme.
Anthony Mason won it.
Oh, so he did win it.
So
Oh,
it's
okay.
John Starks and Anthony Mason.
So J.R. Smith.
J.R. Smith did not win it.
So J.R. Smith did not. Okay, so it was
Correct.
Anthony
So
Mason.
no points are out.
I already gave it to me, damn it.
Yep, Ray
Anthony
give us,
Mason
and
won
Ray
it.
will take us away, so
Yeah.
you don't get your points.
Mason won it in 94, 95.
I
Starks
can't even
won it in
fucking believe
96,
that.
97.
Fucking
Okay.
Nancy Mason, you bum.
I had Starks anyway, but
Wow. Okay.
I didn't get any of them.
I had Starks.
yeah.
All right, so Uncle Doug's question,
All
right?
right, here we go. I've been doing a draft theme, and as we know, the '84 draft is widely considered one of the greatest ever, and we've talked about it quite a bit. We know who the first 5 are, because Charles was number 5. Okay, out of that class, okay,
Mm-hmm.
5 players made the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can you name them?
Oh, shit. I should be able to, but I can't.
Four are easy. I'm sitting here looking at the fifth going, who the hell is the fifth
Right,
player?
that's why
What year was it?
84.
84.
I almost my alternate question while you're writing and thinking was the 70th person in that draft.
Ooh. I
Okay.
haven't got that either.
Well, Rick Carlisle.
Oh,
Oh.
that's kind of cool.
The Celtics drafted him number 70 in the draft,
Okay.
and
Wow.
By the way, I was looking into the 83 draft today because of a trivia question I heard. Because that's the Ralph Sampson draft. And of course, Ralph Sampson went number 1 overall. And then old dude out of Mizzou went number 2, Steepo. But then a bunch of scrubs, the guys I never heard of or guys I barely heard of, go. And then at number 16 overall, there's Clyde Drexler. There's the Hall of Famer.
right, yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. And then Manute Bol went in the 5th round.
Yeah,
5th round of the NBA draft. You don't hear that
There was
anymore.
10 rounds in 83.
right. Yeah, they used to go back to 10 rounds.
Oh, Lord. That's enough to have a first 5 and a second 5. That's insane.
Yep.
I can't think.
Huh.
I don't know who the 5th guy is. I wrote down the first 4 like lickety split.
I got the first 3.
I figured you'd get him.
Oh, man. Damn. This is not
Wait,
good.
who's got them already?
I don't have any. I
I've
don't
got
have
an
no one.
answer.
Oh.
I've got 3.
I'm just saying, I was in a cradle taking a bottle at 84.
I wasn't even born yet.
I definitely wasn't born yet.
I wasn't born until 92. Okay, we gotta write something down here.
Yeah, I guess I gotta
Um,
figure something out here.
Damn it! I feel like I'm so close.
I'm just going to guess someone older.
I'm just gonna.
And
I don't even know if this guy's a Hall of Famer, but I'm gonna write him down. I'm gonna miss this damn question. It's gonna bother me.
Okay, I got it.
All right, what you guys got?
Ray.
Not a clue.
All right. Well, Jordan, Olajuwon, Barkley, and Stockton,
Right?
and then I put Danny Ainge.
wow, I can't believe I guessed Stockton right on that. I totally just wrote his name down thinking of people. I wrote Jordan, Barkley, Dream, and Stockton. Wow.
Wade's racing already.
No, you don't have 5, Wade?
No, I did, but I fucked it up.
All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, obviously Olajuwon, Jordan, Barkley, and Stockton, the big 4.
Mm-hmm.
The 5th one was Oscar Schmidt.
Who the?
Oh.
Okay, let me tell the story. Oscar Schmidt was drafted in that draft, but he never came to the NBA.
So why is he in the Hall of Fame?
Well, because he chose to play for the Brazilian national team. And if you ever watched the Olympics back in the day, he played on 5 Olympics. Oscar Schmidt, they say, scored like 50,000 points for the Brazilian national team. He was an amazing shooter.
50,000 points?
Yeah.
How many games did he play?
Well, I mean, the Brazilian national team, he played all year round, probably.
That's insane.
That is insane.
Yeah, that's why he's in
That's
the Hall of
15,000 more points than Abdul-Jabbar.
Right.
Or almost, 12,000 more points.
But see, he played in 5 Olympics, so that would have been 20 years.
That is impressive.
And
Wow.
I remember watching Oscar Schmidt play because when you played with the Brazilians, that's who you had to stop. He had a pretty jump shot.
Well,
And he could
I mean,
score.
was he, like, what position and stuff?
He would have been like a shooting guard, point guard, in that. I mean,
So why didn't he come to the league?
he just didn't want to leave Brazil, I guess.
He played 1,289 games.
We have NBA players that play that.
Yeah.
He retired May 26, 2003.
Yeah,
Oh.
he played a lot of Olympics.
I mean, that's still a lot of games, though.
I mean, it's a lot.
12,
right.
I mean, yeah.
How many points do they have him listed? Because the thing I said he may have scored as many as.
This is what that is. They have a career total of 42,000
Oh,
points.
42.
And
Okay.
He averaged 32 points a game.
Oh my
For
god.
20 years?
For 20 years.
Yeah, he played from 74 to 2003, it says on here.
Yeah, see, he'd play him. That's how they knew him. The NBA wanted him.
Oh, my God.
But he's like, no, he's staying in Brazil.
Who drafted him? That's the fun part.
He got
Which team fucked it up and then get him over here?
he got drafted in round 6. Let me go basketball reference.
Round 6.
Well, that's why they screwed it up, because they took him so late he wasn't going to make any money.
Yeah.
What a
No.
fantastic question. I like that one.
I was reading. No, here's
Yeah.
why I just got mad and erased it. My dumb ass put down Malone instead of Stockton. I got so mad. I was like, son of a wrong
The
Jazz
New
player.
Jersey Nets drafted him.
Yeah, who wants
They
to go
called
to
him
Jersey?
the Holy Hand Oscar.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, and then here it says he scored 49,000 points.
See, that's why the thing that I was reading said may have scored up to
Yeah,
50,000.
so anywhere between 42,000 and 50,000, this guy scored.
Mm.
That's nuts.
Wow, yeah.
Still, it's impressive no matter what.
Hell yeah.
100%. All right. Well, I guess that leaves it to me, right?
Yeah.
All right. So my question was mentioned earlier. I said Barkley is one of 7 power forwards to win an MVP award. Name the other 6.
Oh, Lord. I'm just thinking of my list right now.
I believe... No, that's not true. Never mind. Sorry.
Ooh.
Got it.
Gosh dang it, Wade.
I think.
Wade's second guessing himself.
Oh, who's that one guy?
That one guy,
Don't
yeah.
fucking
Oh, I
worry
think
about
That
it.
one guy, he played in that one for that one team, I think.
Well, I know this one guy's real good.
I
Named
don't know if he's
Elton
a power
Brand.
forward or not. Elton Brand.
Hey, he was good, man. He's real good. He was my second favorite player there for a long time, behind Vince Carter. Oh. You know, I have more Elton Brand jerseys than I do Vince Carter jerseys.
Oh,
Do you really?
I got
That was
Bulls,
about real dumb.
Clippers, and Sixers for Elton Brand. Right. There's 6, right, that we have to list?
6.
Okay.
Yes.
Got 6.
By the way, 4 of the 7 players have 2.
Ooh. Let me see how many people I'm on.
Okay, I've got 6. I'm not. Yeah, I got 6.
I think I got it. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm just
I
going
know,
to
at least got 4 or 5, right?
Everybody ready?
I'm going to feel really
Yeah,
dumb.
we'll go ahead and go.
Yeah.
All right, what you got, guys?
I have Bob Pettit, Tim Duncan, Dirk, Garnett, Bob McAdoo, and Karl Malone.
Okay. I got Duncan, Dirk, KG, Carmelo, Pettit, Giannis.
Okay, I got Garnett, Malone, Duncan, Pettit, Elvin Hayes, and Nowitzki.
All I could think of 3, so I got Duncan, Dirk, and Malone.
Well, they're all 3 correct.
Well, thank you.
Yes. Wade's right.
I forgot about Giannis.
Oh, I forgot Giannis too.
Yeah. Hayes has a title, but not an MVP.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of shocking. He had some huge numbers there for a while.
But he was playing during Jabbar's heyday.
True.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about old Giannis.
Yeah,
Good question.
So Giannis, Malone, Pettit, and Duncan have 2.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I kind of forget about Duncan, to be honest. That was...
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess I had a point to Wade. I had to take
Wade?
a point away from me.
Good job, Waster.
Anthony Mason got you, Alberta.
Fucking Anthony Mason.
Gotta look that up. He would have been
That dirty son of a bitch.
coming for me.
All right. Well, after this week's tallies, the scores are as follows: Ray with 20, Uncle Doug and Drew with 40. Alex with 45, and Wade with 52. And yes, Wade extended his lead, even though it's
Oh,
bullshit. I should have kept his lead the same. Ray.
Anthony Mason.
So thanks for tuning in for our Charles Barkley episode. And please tune in next week to listen to our Kevin Garnett episode. We're looking forward to that one. We'll have a special guest, a new special guest for the Garnett episode. And thanks for tuning in to Sports the NEMO Way.